Hey everyone, we're in West Virginia, the coal mine, and this is the mine shaft we are going to go into. Just momentarily, we're just waiting for everybody to load, and we will be using a mine train, like the actual trains that they would take the people down into the mines with. So, hang tight, we're just waiting for them to start, and then I'll video us going through the shaft. So while we wait, let's look at the map of this mine. So this is the map of where we're going to be going in, the shaft we're going to be going in. Just some of the information they have here. So 1900 to 2014. Do you know anybody that worked at this coal mine? We're going to stop board. Okay, let's get on to our train and get going.
Here we go.
Here we go, guys.
Oh, got one there. Oh.
Everybody okay?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. Spiders.
Well, we gotta stop here and mine a little bit of coal. Okay, this coal mine's here opened up in 1890. The Phillips family owned this property out front. They were digging post holes one day and found a seam of coal, which is called the Sewell seam. You can find this in Virginia and West Virginia, real good quality coal. The family talked it over and decided to mine some coal and sell house coal to the folks in this area, see if they could do better than farming. Done real well in here for 20 years, 1890 to 1910. Reason they shut down coal companies in this area, started selling coal cheaper than them, put them out of business. So this mine sits here from 1910 to 1959. That's when the city of Beckley got this property. Took over 2 years to make this into a tour mine. Started giving tours in June of 1962. Normally we have around 50,000 people per year come through here from all over the world. A few years ago we had that World Scout Jamboree up here at this new facility. We had almost 60,000. Had an old man and woman from Europe went with me one day. Both cars packed. They're about 90 years old. Sat down in the middle over there. When that old man sat down, he went to sleep. When I got back outside, he was still asleep. Must have been a coal miner asleep like that. I let Sasha underground. I set people off over here, and some of the other people got off over there. I noticed his wife shaking him hard. I mean, she was shaking him hard. I thought something happened for her. So I went around to see if she needs some help. A little bit he started coming to, so I went back up there in the motor, stood there and watched him. Finally, he got off that motor and walked up there where I was at, shook my hand, told me how much he enjoyed the tour. I did not say him. Must have been a dream. All right. Any coal miners on here at all? No coal miners?
His family.
Okay, you ever hear of a fire boss? A fire boss, today's good paying job, state of West Virginia, you gotta be certified through the state. You make safety examinations. Same thing here. Here's what I come through this morning. You'll date up and mark up this whole area. Show that you're through here. The old days, fire boss had a bad job. His job was to get rid of methane gas. See, methane's highly explosive with the wrong mixture, right mixture, ever how you wanna put it. So lighter than air, it accumulate up here, see. The old fire boss would carry a pocket full of rags and a stick. Light him a rag, shove it up in the top, burn it off. That's where he got the name fire boss. I've seen a lot of pictures. I've never seen one yet where any of them had any eyebrows. Bad job. Another thing they had checked for, even the miners continuously working, was black belt. That's what they call oxygen deficiency. This forms in old, abandoned, worked out areas you mine. Rotten wood, decaying timbers use up all the oxygen, see? That's heavier than air, see? You don't have any ventilation back in these areas either. It'll work its way out into your working place. It's real close to the ground. That's why they carry these critters with them. You can bring any kind of birds you want, and canaries was their favorite. They're a small bird with small lungs. These canary though, you got a little girl at the house, you put a boy in the cage with her, you take him out, she starts throwing them conniption fits, screaming, never shuts up. He's doing the same thing. Put them back together, you don't hear a peep out of them. That's why the miners liked them so good. They could bring that little bird in here, set it on the ground, be up there 100 foot or more working, that bird's screaming every breath, never shuts up. Hear it all day long. If it get real quiet and he don't hear it, he gonna crawl back there in that low coal and check on it. It flopped over like this one. Like damp got it, see? Had a little girl here, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. I've been the first year started, maybe 8 years ago. Started crying over this thing. I mean, she boo-hooed and sobbed the whole tour. Going around the gift shop, she still sobbed. Absolutely broke my heart. She had me tore up, I couldn't hardly finish the tour. Her mother said it saved the miner's life. She didn't care, still. A year or two after that, always time runs together. I don't know when it was. Little girl sitting out there where she was sitting. I looked at her, the tears started. I said, oh no, not again. I fib to her. I told her they gave it mouth to beak and revived it. So, well, she quit crying anyway. And some of the early lights you used in mines was lanterns and candles. That wasn't very good. So they went to this teapot, see? It's got a little spout on it. Got a little wick in it. Carry a can of lamp oil, kerosene, bacon grease, lard, anything they could find to burn. Fill that thing up. Light it, stick it on the side of their hat. Very poor visibility. This one need better than a candle. So to improve on that, they went to the carbide lights. Now that's the big improvement in lighting. This has calcium carbide chips in the bottom, water in the top. You open this valve, when the water hits that carbide, that makes acetylene gas, just like you're gonna cut your metal with.
Nice.
I'm gonna turn the lights out and show you the working conditions. Tell you something else, move your hand in a hurry because it gets hot in a hurry. Don't waste no time. Now this is the big improvement in lighting. How'd you like to work 12, 14 hours with that?
No thanks.
My dad started mine in 1924. He was 15 years old. That's what he used, see? Y'all wanna see total darkness?
No.
All right, here we go. Cover your light up for a second and you can see everything, see? You get the idea, it's always darker in a dungeon. Right. Here was our working condition. We had the lights like this on our heads. I don't see how they worked with them, but they did.
We actually at our museum have the, oh help me, a patent and so
Yeah.
on for the carbide light. A fellow that invented it,
Yeah.
Lorenzo, came from
Well, I
Bay Mine.
hope we got some money out of it.
No,
That's a shame.
200 1 minute.
$200.
My
We sold it to Carbide, or
Yeah.
the Carbide company.
That's the way things like that go. I'll show you something on the patent over here on the next stop. Now, these coal cars working for coal companies, they had to load 6 of these in this load coal for a coal company. Nothing but one coal on them, all clean coal. What they call a ton, paid them 20 cents a car. So, I'll explain that more on our next stop. Where we show you how to do the cuts and stuff. All right, y'all ready to ride?
Yeah.
We're gonna go behind us, back to the right. Now, right here would be a working room for hand loaders working for a coal company back in those days. If you had 20 men in here hand loading, each one of them would have a room or entry, whatever you want to call this. They could leave their tools here. Now, if he could not load those 6 cars like I showed you over yonder, company fired him. Didn't have any use for it. They would bring boys with them, 6 to 15 years old, to help make these cuts and load the cars. Those boys never got paid a penny for that, see. Training them's what they call that, see. Free labor. It helped a man keep his job, is what it really amounted to. Coal height in here is 32 inches. That's what this guy's working in. He's not allowed to mine any rock. They take his top down when they're not producing coal, see. Has to be done on an idle shift. This type mining is called scratch back mining. Out of the 44 years I spent working for coal companies, I spent 11 years crawling around this stuff. Guess that's why my knees hurt, back, everything else, see. Older age don't help none either. At least I survived it, that's the main thing. This old guy, to make his cut, had to do it all by hand, see. We had equipment. This old guy got to crawl back in here on his hands and knees, take a pick, lay down on his side, dig an undercut underneath the coal in the rock. Makes it that much harder. 4 foot deep, 5, 6 foot wide, depending on roof conditions. Once he gets that all dug out, he takes his shovel, throws all the rock out. It has to be nothing but clean lump coal to get paid. Then he has to drill 3 holes, 4 foot deep, one on each side, one in the middle with this old hand drill. You see it on the upper end there? It's called a breast auger. He's on his knees, puts that against his chest, leans into it, cranks it, see? Take a while to drill those holes. Once he gets his holes drilled, he crawls out the mouth of the place, that's where he keeps his powder. Back then, most of them use black powder, gunpowder. He have him some paper, something rolled up in it, stuff all 3 holes full of powder. Put mud or whatever you get, even dirt behind it. Take a taping stick, tape it up tight, pack it in there. Then he shows him a hole back in all 3 shots. That's where he puts his fuses. Fuses was called squibs. Look just like a wick on a firecracker, about the same thing. He put all 3 squibs in the hole, tie them together. Then he's got to come out here and warn his co-workers. Fire, fire, fire in the hole. Crawls back there and lights that squib. That's when he better be faster than a squib and get out of there. Hopefully he does. As soon as the shot goes off, he does not have time for dust and smoke to clear. The company don't allow that. Shows that first car right up in that dust. Gets as close as he can get it to load it. There's not enough height to shovel over. The board on the front has hinges, sweep it down. Now the shovel he loads with, a number 4 like that, let's say pitchfork. That way you load nothing but lump coal. Start slinging all that lump coal back in the car. Eventually you get all 3 cars loaded. Someone has to take them outside. Then he's got to get another cut, but he has 4 foot of unsupported top. He'll have set 1 timber on each side for roof support, like you see up here. Those 2 timbers are the only thing a company supplies that man with. Every tool he uses, pick, shovel, drill, carbide, powder, you name it. He buys it at the company store, comes out of his wages. Most of them lived in company houses, food, furniture, clothing, rent, everything come out of his wages. Most of them never drawed a penny. The older sold the company store. If a miner got killed back those days, normally on the day of the funeral, when the family returns home, their furniture pitched out in the yard. Another miner moved that house. Companies didn't care. Don't care now either, to be honest with you. They did a difference in them. Now, company stores, they still had them when I started mine in 1970. We were not obligated to buy anything there, but a lot of us did. You're going to pay 3 or 4 prices for it. Way more expensive. See, I graduated in June of 1970. My girlfriend was a year behind me. Lord, I asked her to marry me 7 or 8 times, maybe more than that. I don't know. Finally, she said yes. So up in the spring of 71, I found me a good level acre lot down here in Raleigh County, down the western end. $100 for that. You couldn't get a foot of that for $100 now, not a level lot anyway. Back here at Beckley, paid down payment on a 2-bedroom trailer, drug that thing down there setting it up. Talk about moving up in this world, that thing had a commode and a bathtub in it. First commode I ever seen was in high school. They knew a bunch of us didn't. They'd have somebody designated to take you through the bathroom and show you what a commode was. I remember reaching over, hitting that lever, jumping back. Well, I've never seen such a big crash. I'm glad it's better for my kids. I mean, they couldn't comprehend how we raised. They couldn't. They had no idea. And old cold winter nights, snow blowing through the cracks, never heard of insulation. Have a glass of water, part of it, left the last 3 silent. There's no way they could comprehend it. Lord, I might go back and do it again. I know time goes on, I can't. Boy, if I could, I would. To me, it was the good old days. But long gone, no doubt about it. Anyway, one Saturday I was working on that old trailer and I put some underpin on it. The furniture come in those trailers wasn't worth having. Chest of drawers and dressers, paper thin. I don't know why they even put them in there. I decided to go down to the company store and get us a new bedroom set. So kind of up in the day, my girlfriend and mom come up looking that trailer over. And I made the mistake of telling her. She said, "No, you ain't." Said, "I'm gonna go pick it out." Well, the boss me then, they let up since, still boss. I turned there and ordered that thing, it was a Bass at $800 some. I got it from Beckley for 2 or 3 probably. We definitely got our money's worth because we still have it, almost 53 years later.
Wow.
They don't make furniture like that anymore. That's why I always asked if they went with me before. I tell different stories. This is one of my better ones. Had a lady last year get outside, gets her phone out, calls my wife. I didn't know she knew. She was fact checking me is what she was doing.
There you go.
So you better tell stories at max. I done found that out.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, she come back, apologized. She said, I was fact checking you. Said you told the truth. Pays to every now and then anyway. All right, cross the track over here now. When I back up, I'll stop where y'all can see this. This will be a little bit interesting. You got a question?
Yeah, so did you ever come ahead working in the mines?
Did I ever what?
Did people ever get ahead of the mine? If you're headed back in the company store, you bought your food from the
Back
store.
in those days, they never.
No.
No, all they did was exist. Worker kids till they dropped to.
So back in the old days, when they had people that were working, if the worker got too far ahead of the mine, would they get rid of them? I'm saying, you know, if they'd spent more than they were actually making mining the coal.
They wouldn't let him have nothing in the company store.
Okay.
They till he got called up. They keep it regulated. They knew what he made every half. And that's about what they had to live on. Plus they all raised gardens and stuff like that.
So how far back would they follow the seam, as far as it went?
Usually they had a boundary, a property line, they would measure.
Oh, okay,
They
property
had
lines.
engineers or whatever, somebody would measure it and tell them how far they drove. And one of them would steal the coal from other places too. They didn't, the maps wouldn't accurate, so.
So these are shallow mines. I've been in the gold mines in Nicaragua, Red Bull, Colorado, been down
Yeah.
6,000 feet.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cross the track over there. Just talk about that patent while ago. That orange piece of equipment is a scoop, the very first scoop ever built. They're DC battery powered, the bucket on the front, you can haul coal, haul supplies and things. Bill Drumheller built that one in his spare time, right in Raleigh County down southeastern Florida. He built it a garage at his house, he didn't get a patent. His family lost billions, no doubt about it. That Jeffrey loading machine, that come on around 1929, powered by DC electricity, that's what replaced your hand loaders equipment in the mines. That has arms on the front to gather up the coal, chain down the middle of the boom on it. That operator there we call Marvin, he used to be a tour guide here. Loved his job, he passed away last year, about 83, almost 84. Anyway, Marvin will trim that in a cut, start with his buddy shoved the car under the boom, and less than a minute you had a car coal loaded. You're talking about a big time production toaster it was, big time. Loaded a lot of rock too. Companies put young boys, young as 5 years old, had them picking slate, cleaning those cars, cleaning the car. Paid them a few pennies a day. I couldn't imagine a 5-year-old this day and time working for any company, but on a coal company, but they did. As I back up, I'll stop where y'all see this and else get pictures. If y'all see Marvin moving up there, let me know. We gonna skedaddle out here in a hurry, so.
Let's back it up so we can see.
Have anybody from North Carolina on here now? Say you're from North
Right.
Carolina?
Well, I'm from Virginia, still Virginia, it's right there on the line.
Well, you didn't see Tom Dooley over yonder?
No,
Well, look right yonder. See, look at where you missed him.
I did.
Oh, about Tom Dooley?
Uh-huh.
Hampton Trio had that out back. This is a different Tom Dooley though. He was a coal miner from Boone County, Mass there. When he passed away, his family donated that. When I seen that Tom Dooley bucket, I said, I gotta take that inside. Had told us, I don't know, there 4 years ago, from Charlotte, sang the whole song when they sang it. They knew every word of it, they knew it well. See these roof bolts? That's why you don't need timbers out here to support your top. Roof bolts what hold your top up now. Did they have those in those mines that you went in now, sir? Yeah. They come out in the 30s, see. A roof bolt has to anchor on one solid foot of strata. Put those plates on it, no more than 4 foot apart. It pulls your whole top together. It builds a bridge is the way it actually works, see. Early days, they drilled those holes with a stoker or jackhammer. So I know in 1941's when this long air dock, single head roof bolt would come out. Now they have double heads a lot faster. Anyway, in the early 40s, 43, somewhere in the time frame, they started getting these boulders drilled with holes. Put your drill steel in that head there, line it up and start drilling, see. Once you get your hole drilled, now this is some of the early roof bolts. The very first ones they used had wedges on them. Just spread out. They'd put the plate on it, take a sledgehammer and drive it up in there. Very slow process. So when he come out with this bolt machine, he come out, these are like anchors in cement. See, you got about 4 inches holding. Shove this up in your hole, torque that thing about 160-pound torque. That expands just like an anchor, see. But they were bleeding off, getting people hurt and killed. So then he went to the glue bolts. DuPont come out with these rosin bolts, whatever you want to call them, in 1974. This has epoxy chemical on one side. I'm not sure what the other is. The hole you drill just big enough to shove your glue in, just same size as the glue. You get your glue started in the hole, you line your bolt up with your bolt machine, shove that head and start spinning it. That mixes your chemicals, see. 10, 12 seconds, you better have it up. If you're long there and that glue sets up, all you got's a good back scratcher, cause it ain't going no further. You get that again the top, that whole 4 foot's holding, see. The whole 4 foot. It's never been improved on since 1974. Saved thousands of lives, no doubt about it.
What exactly with that, when you run it up in there, is it keep things from crumbling, or how does that work?
Well, say you've got a separation knee rock here, or stack rock, layers rock. If it anchors in 1 foot of solid material, see, when that plate on it, it pulls it all together. It makes it like a bridge, makes it all solid. Now you can get a lot of weight on it and start breaking out around it, but normally it's like you see right here. It's all solid material, can't beat it. Saved thousands of lives. Okay, now who went in the museum and who didn't? Some of you have. You remember seeing the little rail runner upstairs? I'm gonna hold this one up here in just a minute. See, back in the old days, companies did not provide transportation in the mines or out for those. I'll hold it up here in a minute.
Okay.
And that scratchback coal, those old guys had to crawl in and out of the mines. So one day, one of the guys come up the rail runner ramp like this. He could take his dinner bucket, get down on his knees, move along a lot faster than crawling, a whole lot easier on his knees, see. There's something else they should have patented. You can find this over at Walmart, same thing. Had a couple from Germany the other day, said, we got them over there. I said, Walmart's? They said, yeah, scooters too. I guess they're all over the world.
On my skateboard.
Same thing. Old miner had him a fortune, didn't know it. Okay, with the loader, loading those cuts out fast, picks wouldn't get the cuts quick enough. So in 1930, they come out this Goodman cut machine, powered by DC electricity, just like a load machine. This looks like a chainsaw, auger would use. Has an 8-foot bar, chain goes around the bits in it, an electric drill too. This would do the undercut in the bottom of the coal, not the rock. So it's 8 foot, cut all the way across and back, complete double cut faster than you would dig 6 inches in that rock with a pick, see. Big time production booster, see. Bad thing about that was that chain made that cut, that old fine bug dust blows right out in that operator's face all day long. Eat that dust. My dad run one of these old early machines probably 10, 12 years. My 2 older brothers, one of them was 11 years older than me and the other 9, run these more modern machines probably 20-some years, maybe 29. One of them loved that job called a whittling coal. He died at age 56, he'd up Black Line. My oldest brother made it to 60, same thing. My dad died in 1967, I was 15 years old, he was 58, same thing. He started getting sick along about April, early part of summer, couldn't go to work. Month and a half or so goes by, gets a letter from a coal company thanking him for all the years' service. Down at the bottom of it, had a little note there, you're discharged for absenteeism. I still got the letter, I wouldn't take nothing for it. But by September, I know, September, he couldn't even lay down in the bed, so couldn't breathe. Had to sit up in an old chair in the living room, had a coffee table, put a pillow on it, prop his feet up on that. By, I know in October, maybe even late September, you could hear him going, whew, oh God, he got. That pain in his chest, he said, was like a wire brush grinding. I mean, that's painful. I mean, pitiful, really. My brothers took him down to the clinic when they could do for him. Like the first week in November, it come a huge snow. Man, his waist deep. They canceled school. That's something that didn't happen back then. They more drivers put chains on and go, but it was too deep. Anyway, I got out there that morning, showed a path out to the toilet. You had to get up to the toilet, see. Then I went back up there, lay on a bench where we had the well, give her drinking water. Showed up to that. Then the building out there, we had a coal in. I had to shovel up, did, where you get to the coal. Went back in the house, warmed up a little bit. It was kind of up in the morning then. So I got the coal buckets, went out on the porch, and there's a vast house near this home. Just like looking down that road right here. I looked, there come two women and a man waiting that snow at that home. I thought, where in the world are they going? They come up, and open the door, and I'm going in and warm up. They, I don't know, social workers, church organization or something, I had no idea. They had paperwork to fill out for my dad, go down here in Charleston, West Virginia. Dr. Walker at that time, one of the best lung specialists in the world, he was a good one. See, they had all that UMWA insurance down there, that's why they had all those real good doctors. Anyway, my dad wouldn't go after Thanksgiving. I missed school that Monday. Brothers come up, and we loaded him up, had to have him down there at 8 o'clock that morning. About 2-something that afternoon, Dr. Walker come in, talked about, he examined him, did all the x-rays, everything. He said, your dad has pneumoconiosis or something like that. I had no idea how to pronounce it. I'm getting close. Black lung is what he was referring to. He said, this dust will accumulate over the years, build up. It'll cake in there. He said, your lungs start getting brittle. He said, they start deteriorating, that ripping and pulling's where all the pain was coming from. He said, there wasn't nothing they could do for him. Put him on morphine. He died on December the 1st. Last time I saw him, he was singing When the Roll's Called Up Yonder, so I know he's not suffering. I mean, you don't want to see him go, but he didn't have no quality of life, pitiful. Now, don't you think I wasn't worried about that when I started mine? It's because I was. I was worried to death about it, but I didn't want to leave the state. I'm thankful for the first old man I ever worked with. He's about 43, 45, and to me he's old, you know. But he treated me as good as his own son. Fate, I guess you could call it. Tell you a little bit about him. I worked with him about 2 years when I first started. Every weekend you could mark her down. He'd hit these beer joints and lay drunk. A whole weekend. Come in to work on Monday morning, the heaving, the gay, and a puking for half a day or more. Sicker than any man ought to be on this earth. I asked him one day, I said, why do you do that? He said, I can't drink through the week, I'd lose my job. He said, I make it up on the weekend. Called himself a weekend drunkard. I don't think he had the word alcoholic back then. About 6 months into it, he came in to work one Monday morning. We had a little waiting room out there. Mine foreman come in and give you orders, and then the crews would leave. He come in that Monday morning, he wasn't running in and out. Heaving the gang. Sat there on that bench with the rest of us. One of the guys I worked with went over and put their hand on his forehead and asked him if he was okay. He said, I'm fine. He said, what's going on? He said, I quit drinking. Never drunk another drop. I ain't kidding. He died 3 years ago. He's 95 years old.
Nice.
Had a wonderful life, wonderful person. But what he did for me, he's the only man at this mine to do this. First day I ever worked with him, get you a respirator and wear it, filled with the dust. He said the men will laugh at you, they'll make fun of you. He said, get your respirator. And he was right. Early 70s, they started paying these black lung checks. Those guys would suck in all the dust they could breathe. Money in the bank, they'd say. Blacker the lung, the bigger the check. You're stupid wearing a respirator. That was the mentality. I don't know, before COVID hit, I was over this same mall, running into a guy I'd worked with 20-some years, maybe 25. He asked me if I was drawing this federal black lung, and I said, no. He said, I'm getting over $1,000 a month. I said, well, they sent me, well, I went over to Madison in Boone County first test. They said, you got black lung? I said, man, that's gonna get me some of that money, you know. Sent me down to Norton, Virginia, same thing. But it all went down into London, Kentucky, when the government ruled on it. They said, you're not disabled, and give me that. Well, I'm glad I'm not disabled. I don't want $1,000 a month. I like to have it, but I don't want to be disabled. Anyway, he told me I was stupid for wearing that respirator. He's getting that $1,000 a month. He said, I told you better. That was the middle of the summer. About Christmas, I was back over there again, somewhere long before Christmas. Had his younger brother with him, 2 or 3 years younger than that. Told me the same story, how he was getting $1,000 a month, how stupid I was wearing a respirator. He had an oxygen bottle dragging with him, the hose hooked in his nose, telling me how stupid I was. I don't know where they got that mentality, but a lot of them's dead and gone younger than I am. I'm just glad I worked with him. All I can say. If I'd worked somebody else, I wouldn't have done it either. I asked my brothers to wear them, they wouldn't do it. I wish I had it, but it made a difference, I believe. You can't make them. All right. Has everybody seen this hot dinner buckets? When I started mine in 1970, every man I worked with had a bucket like this. They've been using them for several years. Way back there in the older days, they'd bring their lunches in paper bags, sacks, pokes, whatever you want to call them. Their lunches disappearing. These critters here was eating their lunches. Rats. Every production mines I ever worked in, every single one of them had rats running everywhere. This looked like a mouse compared to something. There's no rats here, there's nobody here to feed them, see? Don't say never. One of the guys doing a tour last year, he's an excellent tour guide, but man, he should have been on this tour. Back to this place here where we just came from, cut off the motor. Well, back here getting ready to start talking, the lady sitting there where he's sitting, starts screaming and hollering, there's a rat. Well, he's more scared up she was. He started screaming and hollering and carrying on. Tucked between the cars and tripped. He done scared everybody to death on the cars, had him swallow a piece. He bruised himself up pretty bad. Wonder he didn't break his arm or leg or something. Then people got outside, they was tore up. I said, did you see the rat? He said, no. He said that woman took a picture of it, sent it to his phone. Well, he showed it to me. I said, that ain't a rat, good gracious. It's a little old possum wandered in here. All that carried on, that little possum. That's the fun of doing this, I guess. Anyway, at this bucket here, the lunch is still disappearing. Old rat take his tail, get under the lid, raise it up, and eat your lunch. What they say, rats are smart, but they're not that strong, see. The old miner started putting a piece of slate or rock on that lid, that way he couldn't steal his lunch. Co-workers stealing his lunch, no doubt about it. Start your dessert pan, the old miner bring a fried pie, piece of cake, whatever his wife would fix him back in, see. My time it was an oatmeal cake or a moon pie. You ever eat a moon pie? Boy, good, ain't it? When you get them. A lot of times I come to work with a shiny pan, my wife's mad at me. I didn't get no moon pie. She'd leave me a note in there though, tell me why she's mad. Some of them were nasty grams, they wasn't real nice. Boy, she'd let me out. I wish I'd have saved him, I'd have me a box full of treasures I could show the grandkids, see. Well, some of them I couldn't show, most of them. You know, when you're young, you don't think of that. I wish I had them. All right, in here, you bring all the food you can bring. You bring extra food in case you get trapped. You bring extra food to feed the rats. That's why rats are in the mines. Rats can truthfully sense a disaster. Maybe they could hear movement in the top we couldn't hear, sense of that thing build up, whatever. If a bunch of rats coming this way, we're going with them. You bet on that. How many of y'all have eaten pepperoni rolls? Coal miners invented them. The Italian coal miners up around Perma, West Virginia. I guess you find them everywhere, man. Over above the New River Gorge Bridge at that Swiftwater General Store, they've got them there. They're fresh too. They've been laying around for 3 days. You're over that way, Ames Heights Road. I'm not kin to them either. I couldn't even tell you the name of the person who works there, but I know they're good. My wife got one the other day. I'm gonna even get me one. Well, in the bottom here, the most valuable thing that miner can bring is his drinking water. Somebody drunk his water one day. What do you think he did the next day? What?
Pissed in it?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Sit them false teeth in there. Old miner's tough, ain't it? Big chew in that jaw, and then beer run down his chin and neck, hop her right in there, and nobody drank his water. All them miners didn't have false teeth. A lot of them go to the funeral home, have them save them some. That water's valuable. I hope they bleached them, but I seriously doubt it. Hey, I thank y'all for coming. Hope I didn't keep you too long. Hope you enjoyed your tour. What we do, we go out this end here, you look back, see how much cover's over you. We'll go around through the park and do our best to get back where we started from. Hey, thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
The water that's in here now,
Do what now?
with the water that you see now, did they have water coming in?
Yeah.
I mean, in other words, you know, I know they were worried about the water in their pans, but I didn't know.
Actual water worked in, that miner went in working for a coal company. There's water in his place. He keep an old bucket there and bailed out. That was on his own time. He still had to get 6 cars, regardless.
Did you say 20 cents a car
20 cents a car
for 2 tons?
No,
for 1 ton.
1 ton?
But the thing about that, to get that 20 cents, that car had to have that graveyard hump on it. Made it a metric ton. They figured about 400 pounds or 5. They cheat him either way.
Oh, yeah.
And the miner didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they didn't understand what they were reading.
You talk about the water in the mines, on our museum board, we have a fellow who, his grandfather was over here from Germany, or England, I'm sorry, about 3 weeks and went to work in the coal mine at Cherry, Illinois. And they lost 259 men in a fire.
In the fire.
In the fire. And there were about 20 men that survived down in the mines for 8 days. And of course, water was the big thing, and they would go try to find the water, tap the hole,
Yeah.
dig a hole, see the water come up, and that's how they survived for 8 days. Anyway, his fellow's on board. That's how they
I had a chance to go to Wellsburg, Utah.
No.
About, well, close to 80 miles west of Huntington. Company offered me a job, gonna move me out there and everything. Some of my buddies went. They got in mine far and every one of them died. The belt line got on fire. That coal's kind of a greasy texture to it. Once it got on fire, killed them all.
I have a question, another question, I'm sorry. All these, like all back in here, y'all don't do any I mean, I see.
Y'all wanna ride back through there? You'll see more of the mines, or do you wanna go around the hill? I'm gonna leave this up to you guys.
That's whatever's most popular.
Down.
Yeah, let's go down.
A lot of movies was filmed in here. If you ever watch a movie made one about the mine wars, part of that was filmed here. National Geographic's done one, Haunted Coal Mines, about Haunted Place, West Virginia. I was in that one, and another guy. There's been a lot of filming in here. A lot of it's right back through this back area.
So is there a lot, like, it's just everywhere? In other words, I'm sure you guys only do you only use so much of it, but is there just a whole lot
This,
more?
this
than
mine's
ever?
right here is what we got rebuilt. This goes over this way through under Route 19 over 3 miles. Back that way out through Crab Orchard over 2 miles. But coal companies mined on each side of it. That's what made it.
Different coal companies?
Yeah, different coal companies.
Uh-huh.
That's what put them out of business, see? And that's why I set yours alone.
That would have been intentional.
If y'all want back through here, I'll show y'all this area here. Most people never get to see it. I mean, we're supposed to go around the hill, so if they say anything, y'all request it.
Okay.
All right, when we go by this little spur track over here, or supply track, you'll see an old motor similar to this one. This come out around 1940. It was probably 1930 or earlier. That's what replaced your mules. They had trolley poles on them with trolley water in the mines. You'll just see that and see these old works. So let's go that way. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.